If you read after-action reports from World War II mountain units, especially those operating in Italy, Norway and the Balkans, you will notice something unsettling. Soldiers describe traversing cliffs, frozen gullies and shattered urban ruins in conditions where standard rope simply failed. Hemp ropes froze, swelled and rotted. Early synthetics were scarce. Yet men kept moving upward and downward under fire. The solution that saved lives was not stronger rope, but a wire-based technique borrowed from engineering, adapted for climbing, and used in ways that most civilians never learned about after the war ended. The problem rope could not solve in wartime terrain was predictability. Rope relies on friction, knots and flexibility. In freezing rain or rockfall zones, those advantages turned into liabilities. Wet rope iced solid. Sharp limestone shredded fibres. Explosions cut lines instantly. Mountain troops needed something that could survive abrasion, heat, cold and shock without catastrophic failure. Sappers and engineers already trusted steel cable for bridges and winches. Climbers adapted it for human movement. Now, the wire trick, it wasn't really about free climbing on bare cable, you see. Instead, it was all about putting together fixed, semi-rigid safety systems. These replaced rope in places where rope simply couldn't hold up. Galvanized steel wire aircraft cable and even field telephone wire were anchored directly into rock, rubble or structural steel. This approach made things a whole lot safer, especially in really tough conditions. Once these lines were fixed in place, they served as continuous handholds, handy balance aids, and, well, emergency arrest systems if things went wrong, instead of acting as your main suspension ropes. It was a smart bit of improvisation, making the most of what was available. One of the most effective uses, actually, was the fixed traverse line. Rather than rappelling or belaying down, sappers would run steel wire horizontally or diagonally across those exposed faces. The wire was pulled tight and anchored at frequent intervals. It was a clever solution, really, and it made all the difference in getting across hazardous ground. Climbers clipped in with carabiners snap hooks, or sometimes, improvised loops and moved laterally with constant support. If a man slipped, the fall was short and controlled, not a rope-length plunge. Vertical movement used the same principle. Rather than descending on rope, soldiers used fixed wire ladders or cable rails paired with foot placements cut into ice or rock. The wire provided balance and arrest, not suspension. Urban combat produced another application. In bombed cities, stairwells were gone and rubble shifted constantly. Engineers ran wire hand lines through shattered buildings, anchoring them to intact beams. Troops moved up and down safely while carrying equipment. Rope would have been cut by debris or burned by fire. Wire endured. What made this trick effective was redundancy. Unlike rope systems that relied on single lines and knots, wire systems were anchored every few feet. If one anchor failed, the next held. The wire itself resisted cutting and heat. In alpine environments, ice slid off wire instead of bonding to it. These properties kept routes usable for weeks instead of hours. Applying the historical lesson today requires restraint and respect for physics. Steel wire is not a substitute for modern climbing rope in recreational climbing. That cannot be overstated. What can be applied safely is the underlying principle. Fixed, redundant handlines and rails can dramatically increase safety in steep or unstable terrain when used as support, not suspension. In practical terms, this means using modern steel cable or static lines as fixed aids in controlled environments such as backyard builds, farm access paths, steep trails, or emergency egress routes. The first step is anchoring. World War II engineers never trusted a single anchor. Modern users should follow the same rule, fixing lines to multiple rated anchor points spaced closely enough that a slip results in minimal movement. The second step is tension and placement. Lines should be tight enough to provide support without sagging. You see, sag increases fall distance. Back in World War II, lines were often tightened with turnbuckles or improvised winches. These days, rated tensioners serve the same role. The third step is interface. Soldiers use snap hooks and short tethers to stay connected without actually hanging from the wire. Modern equivalents, well, they include via ferrata lanyards and safety tethers, all designed to limit fall forces. The final lesson is environmental awareness. Wire was chosen because, quite simply, it matched the environment. In rockfall zones, fire-damaged buildings, icy cliffs and combat conditions, rope failed too often. The material choice followed the problem, not tradition. What history remembers poorly is that this was not improvisation by desperate men. It was engineered adaptation under pressure. The same mindset built Bailey bridges and cleared minefields. The wire climbing trick belonged to that same lineage of problem-solving. For Backyard Wisdom viewers, the value here is not copying the exact method, but, understanding why it worked. Reduce fall distance. Increase redundancy. Match materials to environment. Support movement rather than suspend it. Those principles remain valid whether you are building access on steep land, planning emergency routes, or, studying how humans adapt under extreme constraints. If you value serious history that still teaches practical thinking, this channel is built for you. Subscribe for more forgotten solutions that shape survival under pressure. And share this episode with anyone who believes progress only moves forward and never looks back.